Hello everyone, I'm Lukasz, and I will talk about the code a bit about Leaf framework. It's a Scala framework for web applications. I work for Software, small company from Poland, and we're trying to do cool stuff. And we are the best making stickers. So I have few stickers for you if you want. So don't hesitate to take them after the presentation. So okay. Okay. You can ask why to use Lift. Do you use Scala? Yeah, 1-2%. What framework do you use, or any? Play framework, because it's very well promoted by Lightband, yeah, mostly. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, the main author David Pollack of Lift didn't accept proposal from Lightband to put the Lift framework as a part of this Lightband architecture. So that's why Lift isn't so popular. Anyway, Lift is quite secure. It's very secure framework. There's the main points from the main website. It's very good for designers, because if you are working with designer who prepares HTML files for you, you don't have to mess with the HTML. You're just using the pure HTML file in your application, and you don't have to put anything special inside. There will be just one thing, but it's not problem. Okay, let's start with a simple demo. So I already have a very simple starting application. You can use this on the Lift project homepage. There is a simple application you can start from. You are cloning in from the GitHub, and you are using it as your starting point for your application. So it's almost the same. I just removed some stuff that is not used or useless. Okay, so I will start the container. That's all I need. Okay, it's working. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I see. It just displays this basic HTML file. Yeah, there's nothing special here. Yeah, if you know the HTML, there's nothing to complain about it. It's the full HTML page with just HTML tags. So how to convert this HTML to be Lift page? Yeah, so we need to have a first of all, you need a starting point for your application. It's a boot class. It's very similar to Spring boot class. You define all the stuff here to configure Lift, to put all your behavior, how to Lift should behave, and so on. So the first thing is to put your package name where your snippets, the Lift, the Scala code, your pages are. It just will scan this package and below to load all the snippets. This is a good practice. You have to use this kind of packages. Also, there is a sitemap here. This one, it builds the sitemap. You have the full sitemap of your application with all your pages. It's also good practice. You can use a wildcard and so on and stuff like that to I don't know, to display any page, but not the good practice to use it. Defining sitemap, building the sitemap with all your menus is the preferred way. That's why I'm doing it. And here you have the first very simple home page with menu. So we can go there, see it. The menu is defined very simple. It has a name, home, and the path, the URL where this page will be available. That's why and by convenience, by convention, it will display home HTML file, because it's like match this part, yeah. So by convention, if there is home HTML in the root of your web application with your web project, it will display it because it match. Uh, okay, so let's go to the HTML file. Okay, how to let's say glue together HTML and Scala code. So it's very simple. You need to just put data lift attribute and reference the class and the function to use to display to render this page. If you see, there is nothing here right now, but it should just display. Okay, it recompile. Okay, it works. So right now I want to show you one thing. There is a span with class date. Do you see it? Yeah. I will use it here just to bind some data. Okay, refresh. Oh, recompiles. Okay, done. It displays the current data. Yeah, you see that the milliseconds changes. Okay, so basically that's all you need to know to use lift in your project. So this data lift attribute here and how to use it. On the left you have the selector. Do you know jQuery? It's very similar to jQuery. It uses the same syntax, you can say. And there is this funny thing, but I think it's quite self-explanatory, to just bind left side to the right side. Yeah, we are just looking for date class here. We are binding its content to the right side. That's all. That's what about this. Okay. To sum up just this basic example, so we have this boot Scala class to define the configure boot the lift. We are using this add to packages function to define where our snippets are. We are using sitemap because it's a good practice to use sitemap. And then we can define a menu like in the companion object, as I showed you. It's also the good practice to use it. And then just render the HTML using data lift attribute and binding this home render function inside it. So I think it's quite simple. Yeah. If you have any question, just ask, because I'm here for you here. Okay. Another demo, quite simple. As you probably notice, using the full HTML always it's not a good idea, because you want to have some kind of default template you want to use. Yeah, it's a good idea for designer to prepare your HTML file, but you want to put just some part of it inside your application. Yeah, you want to wrap it with the default template, with default stuff. Yeah, like menu, sidebars, and so on. Yeah, it's not always the same thing what designer did. So we want to wrap this whole page with templates. I already have some more complicated template here. As you see, there is much more stuff here. Some CSS, jQuery, some nav bar here, yeah, as you see. So we have a menu. There are also some, I'm using also the built-in stuff that is already in Lift. Yeah, you can use menu snippet, which will build a menu for you. Yeah, you can use it. There's also messages snippet here that will be just display all the messages you are storing, like errors, notices, or something like that. And this is the main thing I want to show you. I just want to put all my content here. Yeah, this template should be used to wrap up my content and replace the main content will get bound here. Yeah, just want to replace that. So in Live it's quite simple, and in most cases you are doing just this one thing in the beginning of your development, and you are forgetting about it. So what I need to do is just tell lift where is the main content to wrap up. Yeah, this is the ID of the main content. Just tell him lift use this main content ID. It can be any other name. It's like this, the same here. Yeah, and wrap it with the default template. So that was one thing, and here is the exact definition. So I'm telling lift, okay, here's my content, surround it with default HTML file, add place content. Yeah? So I can just switch, refresh, oh, recompile. And I have menu here, yeah, as you see, yeah, it's with some links, because the default HTML has a menu here, this menu builder, and messages and so on. Yeah. So it will just show all the pages from the sitemap. That's why using sitemap is a good practice. To show you something more, as you see, this is. Yeah, I put some code, some text here is useless. Yeah, you can put anything you want, but it won't be shown in the final page. Yeah, because it's not this part I'm using. Yeah, I'm not wrapping this one. This is the thing I want to put inside my template. Yeah. Yeah. So, as you see, recompile. Do you understand? It's quite simple. You know, it's very simple to put together many things on your to many small tags on the HTML pages into one page. Yeah, just connect them in one place. Okay. Just to summarize things, you have the default HTML as a main template. Okay, maybe I will show you. There's this content ID here, yeah? And to specify it, this content ID is used here, yeah? So we are saying leave to wrap up this page with default HTML and then replace this content with content of this wrap up, yeah? This is just basic to understand how does it work. So, okay.
So the idea is that given the snippet is a full HTML page, so that the designer can work on it, and when it's processed, Lift will only pick up what is needed and place it in.
Exactly that. Exactly, that's the idea behind this, because designer can work on the static HTML page, prepare it, test it in in Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, and on different platforms, and then give you to just put it in your application. Yeah, so that's the idea. You're just taking the part of it and using some custom stuff. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This was a very simple example. So I want to do something more complicated. As you see, there is this mapping here that will present all the stuff from static URL. Yeah, everything in static will be presented. You can access it. I prepared some pages already. Yeah, designer gave them to me to implement them. So there is some kind of HTML files. I can show them, display them here. Yeah, just hello. Yeah, as you see, just display the whole page. Yeah, it's just static content, static HTML. Nothing happens here really. But I can just show them. Yeah, you can see the effect I want to achieve before starting coding. And as I am biker, I own 2 bikes right now, so I will always want to have an application to collect information about my bike. So we'll implement such a simple application to display information about bikes, to register bikes, and some events like I changed oil, I replaced air filter, and so on. So I will try to implement this in 40 minutes. Okay. Let's switch to... Okay, the first thing to tell Lyft is that I want to use this bikes HTML file, yeah? So I need to tell Lyft, use it. So I'm using this kind of magic or code. As you see, it's quite obvious what the code does, yeah? It just... I'm just defining the path to this HTML file, yeah? I think it's nothing complicated. So right now the home page will display my bike's HTML page, yeah? As you see. Because I just said leave to, instead using this convention and displaying home HTML, use this file, yeah? That's all. Okay. As you see, there's already a list of items here. Okay, you see there is a list, and there are some few items here. 2 of them are marked with clearable class. It's quite important. I will show you in a second, because it allows you to display some stuff already, some static stuff, but you can see the page, yeah, without fetching any data from database and displaying it. You can already see what will be the look of the page. So let's implement this page. So first of all is the ID bikes, yeah, and I need to remember that. So I will use it hash bikes because it's convenient in jQuery as well. Garage. I already prepared all those classes before, so it's like domain model. We don't care about it. So right now I just need to bind stuff. Oh, sorry. Yeah, properties of my bike to HTML file. Yeah. Okay. So there's one thing missing. I need to tell Lyft to use this not home rent and oh, it's using it. Oh, cool. Oh, okay. It's clear. Okay, why do you? There is nothing in the database, so I need to put some code, some stuff first to the database. So I already have some example data. Okay, but as you see, this static content is mixed up with this real database data. Yeah, so it's not a good idea to mix the things. I just want to drop all those example items, yeah. So I'm just using the built-in function clearable. That will just clear all these items marked with clearable class, yeah. All these items that have clearable will just drop it. So if I refresh the page, I will see just 2 items from the database. Yeah, okay. So you can simply switch between showing all the content, static HTML page, or the live data. So manipulating the content of the HTML page. Okay. And to summarize this simple example, if you want to use different file than URL points, you can just tell Leaf to use this template by defining this static bikes and this templates path to your template. Click label, the predefined function that will just drop all the clearable elements, and then it says scala function or functionality to join functions. Do you know you can bind together many functions in one, and it will be used as a one function. And hash, which then is just convenient way to bind things left to right. Yeah. Okay. As you see, there's a search form here. It will be good to use it to search bikes. So let's implement it. First thing is to convert this form into a AJAX aware form. With this function, it converts all the forms elements on your page in AJAX aware forms. So it will be just AJAX form, yeah. There is also 2 things, like input box here and the search button, submit. So I want to take the value of input box and use it in the search, yeah. So what I need to do is just bind some text element to this HTML element. So I need a variable to store value of this input box, yeah. So I use just var. And what else? It's to implement handler for submit button. And again, I'm using this HTML helper. To it's binding a handler for on submit handler for form. Yeah, it will be on submit on the HTML page will be transferred to Java to Scala function on the backend. So one more thing to do it is also convert this piece of page, this list, into AJAX updatable container, because we want to use AJAX to update this part of the page, not reload the page, just use AJAX. So it's quite simple. You need a you need to use ID memorize function. It just turns piece of HTML into AJAX updatable container. Yeah. So okay. So basically, this ID memorize just takes this HTML addressed by this bikes ID, and use it as a template to render the page as on AJAX calls. Yeah. And what's left is to implement this AJAX on submit handler. It's quite simple. I just want to update this renderer. Sorry, should be back. And use this search term here, yeah, because I have a function that already accepts search name, so I can use it. Yeah. Okay. Reload. Okay. So if I would type some name, hit enter, it works. Yeah. Did you notice this AJAX indicator? Yeah, it just it shows that AJAX worked and reloads the page. So not the page, it reloads this piece of HTML. So okay. So as you see, it's quite simple to convert the static page into AJAX updatable page. So you just simply bind your HTML part into your Scala code with just a few functions. Okay, so just to sum up, SHTML is a helper class that allow you to manipulate your HTML. It just uses like this makes forms AJAX, convert all the forms tags on your page into AJAX forms. Item-wise converts piece of HTML into AJAX updatable container, so you can update it constantly. And there is text control or this AJAX on submit handler, so it's quite easy to use them, and I think it's quite simple. There's nothing to explain. Okay. Cool. So I have my list of bikes, but it would be cool to register a new bike. Yeah? If I just bought a new Yamaha 60 XT enduro bike, so I want to put it here, yeah, just to register it. So I have added the class register bike and my register bike HTML is a form with some controls. Again, I can show it before implementing anything. So this is the form. It's just static content, nothing happens. But I can use it in my in my lift snippet to build the form. Okay, right now I will start from the scratch. So I need to first define my companion object, yeah, to put menu inside. So I'm defining my menu. And the path where the URL, the part of where to mapping URL, and right now I need to tell leaf where is the template. And define my render function. Right now it will be empty, just pass through, which means does nothing, just pass the whole content of HTML file. And one more thing, I need to use this data leaf attribute to say where is my function to render this page, yeah. So I can close this, refresh. Right. Oh. Okay, and one more thing, I need to update my boot Scala file to add another entry to sitemap. Okay, done. As you see, this register bike menu item is here, so I can click it, and my form is already like live snippet. So I just need to bind all the fields to Scala code. So it was quite simple. Sorry. So again, I just need to bind all the fields. So I'm using ID of those fields, and I already know it as HTML class object to bind variables. Sorry. I have VIN number and description. So there's one thing I will want to explain. I think the one of this advantage of Leaf framework. But let's finish this form. Okay. And there's this submit button here. Yeah, I want to handle, I want to use it to submit my form and to store the bike in my garage. So I need to bind my onSubmit handler. Yeah, okay. Right now I need to implement this store bike function. So just store bike and garage register bike, friendly name, VIN, and description. And this function expects to return JSCMD. It's a shortcut from JavaScript command, because it's an AJAX communication, so we need to return a JavaScript command back to browser. So right now I will just redirect GST. Yes, I will just redirect back to home page. So home menu, and that's also using this companion object and menus allow you to use them in other places. Yeah, so you have like one way to glue together menus between pages. Yeah, you don't have to remember the mapping. You can use this helper functions here to calculate the URLs. As I said, there is one thing very important in Lift. If you, for example, forget to use this ampersand at the end, the rest of the chain will be forgotten. Yeah, there will be no compilation error. Everything is okay, and that's the problem with Lift. There's no quite easy way to find such bug. It's very often to forget such ampersand and something doesn't work. What's going on? In just ampersand, yeah. And I need one more thing to put. Make forms AJAX, yeah. Okay. Okay. As you see, description is right now a text box. Instead, it should be text area, because I use a text here. So I need to just use text area, and it will be a text area again. Okay. So I can register my new bike. Bam, done. As you see, it's here. Yeah. And it's again an AJAX form. It's not a simple post form. It uses AJAX to post all the data, receive AJAX JavaScript command to do the after post redirection. So this redirect tool is it's the result of the posting the form. Okay. Yeah. So this HTML, it's like helper class, helper object for many things. You should use it. You will be using it quite often, and you will be developing a Lift application. So you should know it, how it looks like. Okay. And this JavaScript commands, that are built in JavaScript command in Lift. You can build your own commands based on these basic blocks, and it's like jQuery on Scala side. So we just glue the things and returning JS, CMDS, and that's all. So I use this redirect tool. There's nope, which means just stay on the current page. There's many other predefined JavaScript commands you can use. Okay, form validation. Because as you can notice, I can just register an empty bike. Yeah, just hit register, and empty entry was created. There's no validation inside. And Lift doesn't provide any kind of validation, built-in validation. There's no such thing in Lift. So all you have to do is to code your own validation logic. Which quite often is very useful to build your own validation, micro validation framework, yeah, inside your application, because quite often it's commonly used validators are not so good for your domain. So okay, I need to just implement this validate function. So if friendly name is empty, there will be an error. And the same for VIN number. If it's empty, I want to show an error. And to return boolean, so non-empty. Yeah. So you have some errors. This errors function array or sequence will return all the errors. Yeah. So I can just refresh into recompile. Okay. Register bike. Hit register. Oops. Too fast. Non-empty. Avoid. Oh, sorry. It should be is empty. Okay. It's true when it's empty. Okay, there's no errors. Okay, my bad. Okay, so I can register bike, another, hit register, and you see the error messages are here, yeah? So, okay, so to sum up, there is no built-in validation in Lift. You need to do it on your own. There is a Lift formality project. I'm showing the link here. It provides some kind of validation, so you can use like here not empty, predefined validation in range, and so on. It's also gives you some more convenient way to build forms, like as you see here. Yeah, it will be like we will build the whole form in Scala class. But it's something external, not included in Lift. So this S object is like a God class in Lift. It does many things, showing errors, giving you access to params. This, if you have params in your URL, you can access them. This S dot question mark is a shortcut for accessing messages from your properties file and so on. So it's like over 3,000 lines of code. So it's like gold class. I think they will change it at some point. Also, this messages snippet I showed you before. Yeah, it's here. Yeah. So it will display all the messages, all the messages I registered here with this S error or S notice and so on. Yeah. So it's like built-in functionality in Swift, but you can always develop your own. In our project, we are using a custom version of this messages snippet to display the messages a bit different, to give them some labels and some classes and so on. So it's up to you how to develop. Okay. Okay, I have the final example, final demo. Okay, I think we should finish. Okay, there is this. It will be good, as I said, to show all these events. Yeah, I changed oil, I replaced air filter, and so on. And there is this link here, events, but it's not implemented. It points nowhere. So it will be good to implement this thing. There's already the HTML file ready, so I can display it as well. So this will show me all my events for given bike. And so let's start with class. Okay, it will be a bit different class because I need the ID of bike I selected. Yeah, so it will be a bit different, but it's quite obvious what it does. So I'm starting with the companion object again, defining my menu, but this time I will use a different kind of menu. It's a menu that accepts params of given type. So this is not important because it's just labels. Those two functions are the most important things. You are defining translation, how to translate a parameter, a string, into an instance of bike class, and opposite, how to convert a bike, having instance of bike, into a string. Yeah, need to have a two-way conversion of these things. So I'm just telling that if you have a bike ID, the name doesn't matter. It's just a name of parameter. It doesn't have to match the parameter in the URL. So use my garage to find bike on bike ID. And again, opposite, if I have a bike, how to convert it into a string. So just use bike ID. Okay, I will show you in a few seconds. Okay, right now I need to bike. I'm defining the URL, the pattern, yeah. And this is the parameter, yeah. I'm telling you, asterisk is my bike ID, yeah. So anything here will be translated as a bike ID. And again, I need to use tell where my HTML file is. So it's, you know it already, static. Okay. And define render function. just pass through. Okay, bike events, need to define my data leaf attribute. Oh, sorry. And need to update boot Scala class, boot class to register my menu, yeah, in sitemap. And the final thing, yeah, not this one. Yeah, sorry. Home. If you will open bikes HTML, there is a in each element. Oh, sorry. There is a link. Yeah, this bike event here. So right now I need to bind this bike event link using my menu bike events class. Yeah, my snippet. So switch back to home HTML and bike events. Right now I'm just binding directly to attribute. Yeah, so I'm using href using my menu, and yeah, I need to tell Lyft use this bike instance to create a link. Yeah, so then Lyft will use this logic here, how to convert a bike instance of bike class into a string. Yeah, so it will take just ID from the bike. So it's quite simple, but it can be anything you want. You can fetch some other data from the database. You can use many other things. And just binding to one attribute, not the whole HTML element, just to one attribute of this HTML element. It's not this one. Okay. Done. Do you see it? The part of URL is ID of my bike I selected. Yeah. So it's not like param in URL, like after a question mark. Yeah, you have this params. It's a part of URL, so you can dynamically like RESTful URLs use them in your application. Do you have more time? Do you have time? Yes. 10 minutes. Oh, okay. So as you see, it's quite simple to match, to bind things like domain objects and URLs together. So using just this menu param here. Oh, not here. Yeah. So we can tell you how to translate parameters into an object and object into a parameter. And rendering the event is quite simple. We have these bike events here. Yeah, so it's like previously. I just need to. Okay, one more thing. Okay, bike event. So I want to fetch all the events for given bike. Yeah. So I have history, bike events, and I need instance of bike here. Yeah, because this class expects a bike. So I just need to define parameter in my constructor of given type. This type must match here. Yeah, this param menu, and that's all. And Livy will just inject this instance from here into my class. So it's up to Liv to do it for me. And the rest is quite simple. Oh, asterisk. Event description. Okay, done. Okay, there's no events database, so there's nothing to show, but I can just uncomment few lines. And just refresh. Oh, okay, I need to clear labels as well. So okay, there's this labels here I need to also map. Yeah, I need to use this binding. So bike, it was friendly name, bike name, friendly name. And Vin. Yeah, as you see, the name is here and the VIN number is here also. Yeah, so it shows all the list, the whole list. As you see, there's one thing that I want to show. If you enter these events, a new bike events menu is appearing. Yeah, at the top. I don't want to because it's useless. Basically, it's without context doesn't make sense. So I can simply just tell leave to hide it. And it's gone. Okay. So to summarize this, the last demo, this kind of special kind of menu, this menu param, it allows you to tell Leaf how to transform parameter into instance and instance into string into parameter. I'm using just simple one parameter, like bike ID, but you can put many parameters. Then you need to use tuple here to match these parameters from your URL into your transformation function. And that's all. And Lift will inject those parameters, those instances, into your class, so you don't have to worry about it. You'll just use them. The only minus is that if you have many parameters, you have tuple, it will inject tuple, not the tuple with instances, yeah, not the separate instances. So you need to remember that. So basically, that's all I have. If you have any more questions, welcome. I will be here for a few more hours, so you can ask me if you want.